one of the jobs that I've gotten since the beginning of January is to be the administrator here, but also to be Maurizio's supervisor, the more daunting of the tasks. He's learned to laugh at my jokes, so that's a good start. But I had to speak to the seminary to learn how to do that, and it made me reminisce about my own assignments as a seminarian. I remember my first assignment being pretty fun. I got to go to Steubenville. I met a lot of great parishioners, but I think I have this idea that assignment was fun because the pastor was gone on holidays for all of July and the first part of August. And so with that, the housekeeper took some holidays as well. And I remember the day when she got back, she came to me after Mass and said that she was going to clean my room. And I kind of protested, and I insisted that she didn't need to. I told her I just cleaned it. It was probably fine. In actual fact, my room was so messy that I didn't want her to see it. My bed wasn't made. I had clean laundry and dirty laundry kind of scattered to the four winds all over the place, and I had ordered a new fan, and when I was unpacking it, the styrofoam in the box had kind of crumbled apart and was all over the floor. It was bad, even for me, and if our parish staff have seen how I keep my desk at times, they can attest that that bar is pretty low. I was so embarrassed at the state of my room that I didn't want anyone seeing it like that. I didn't even want the person who was willing to clean it to see how messy it was. Now, I don't think I'm the only one who has not wanted someone else to see the messiness of their house or their room. And just like I didn't want the one person who could clean my room, or was at least willing to clean my room, go in because it was messy, I think the same can be true of our spiritual lives. All of us have messy parts of our lives. Maybe there's something in our lives that we need to forgive somebody else for. Or maybe there's something that we ourselves need to ask for forgiveness. Maybe we have a wound that needs healing. Perhaps we have worries and fears and anxieties that need peace. And when we have these things, when we have things that we need to be forgiven for, when we have wounds that need healing, when we have worries and fears and anxieties, we don't really want anyone else to know about all these things. We want to keep the door closed and not let anyone in. And that can include God. When we present ourselves to the Lord in prayer, at Mass, and happily we can do that in person once again this week, the temptation can be to want to only to present the neat and tidy version of ourselves. And in doing so, we don't let God in to the messiest parts of our lives. The irony, though, is that the only way we can truly be neat and tidy is if we get that forgiveness or experience that healing or that peace, which only can come from God. But because we don't want God to see the messiness of our lives, we can't allow him to come in to clean us up, to heal us, to forgive us, to make us neat and tidy. We see in our gospel today, though, that the Lord is not only able to come into the messiest parts of our lives, the parts of our lives we don't particularly want anyone else to see. We see in the gospel that he desires to come into those places, that he wants to come into the messiness of our lives to bring us healing, to bring us forgiveness, and to bring us his peace. In the gospel, a leper comes and begs Jesus, "Lord, if you choose, you can make me clean." And Jesus comes to the leper, touches him, and says, "I do choose, be made clean." Now, this was an incredibly bold thing for the Lord to do. Leprosy was a highly contagious skin disease, and the description of it in the first reading sounds painful and kind of gross. And as we hear in the first reading, the lepers were supposed to go around town crying out, "Unclean, unclean." And they essentially lost their status as members of society. They were outsiders. We see throughout the Gospels that Jesus runs afoul of the scribes and Pharisees for interacting with outsiders, that he ate with tax collectors and he ate with sinners. But here, he is not only interacting with the leper, but he embraces him. He touches him to make him clean. He does something no one else would ever think of or dare doing, touching a leper. He does something that was against societal norms. He does something that was even against the Mosaic law. And it would have been very easy for the leper to use these as reasons to not ask Jesus to heal him, to not ask Jesus to make him clean. And these could have all been reasons to avoid Jesus seeing just how painful, how messy, how gross the disease was. But despite all this, the leper overcomes all of these reasons, these roadblocks, these fears, and he invites the Lord to make him clean. And we see that the Lord not only will heal and forgive us if we ask him, but we see that he has a desire to do so, that he wants to heal us, that he wants to come to make us clean, to make us whole. And we see that he doesn't do this from afar, even though he could, but that he is willing to come into the messiest, most chaotic parts of our lives to bring us his healing, to bring us his forgiveness, to bring us his peace. And so because of that, we can go to him with confidence, especially in those times where we need his forgiveness, his healing, his peace. And we know that Jesus desires to come to us, to make us whole, to bring us closer to himself, so we can go in confidence to let him into those messy parts of our lives, because he won't judge those, but he will heal us and he will save us. And I think this is actually a good gospel to have given to our current situation. We've been in lockdown here in the city of Hamilton since December 21st, and so the people of God have been away from the Eucharist and from one another since the fourth Sunday of Advent. And it has been a painful time to be away from church and to be away from our Lord, especially when we know how badly he wants to come close to us, as we hear in our gospel and as we experience so profoundly in the Eucharist. This fast from public masses is ending this week, thankfully. And we will have our first public celebration of Mass on Wednesday morning, which also happens to be Ash Wednesday. So we're on the cusp of Lent as well. And Lent is normally a time of sacrifice, a time of penance. And I think this past year, we've made a lot of sacrifices, and this fast from the Eucharist certainly has been a great time of penance for everybody. It's been difficult. And I think we come to this moment a little bit more weary than we normally are just before Ash Wednesday. And I think we come certainly with a greater hunger for the Lord this year, and maybe even a greater appreciation for the gift of our faith and the gift of our parish community. And with this weariness and with this hunger and all that has gone on in the past year, we might be a bit tired of all this sacrifice and penance, and I know I'm not particularly looking forward to talking about it for the next 6 weeks, and I don't know if you're particularly looking forward to hearing about it. But I think our Lenten practices, I think the prayer, fasting, and almsgiving can help us satisfy that hunger we have for the Lord. Yeah, Lent is about sacrifice and penance to come closer to him, but our practices of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving really are meant to help strengthen our relationship with the Lord so that we can come closer to him, so that he can heal our weariness, so that we can satisfy our hunger for him. And so perhaps we can use our Lenten practices to help us overcome the fear or hesitation we have of letting God in to those messy parts of our lives, to let God in to bring us whatever forgiveness we need, whatever healing we need, whatever peace we need, so that we can be like the leper in our gospel today and invite the Lord in so that we can bring him to others. And we do so with confidence, knowing that he will come to us with his touch, with his embrace to heal us, to forgive us, to bring us his peace, to make us his own, to save us, and to redeem us.